Well, we keep going. All right, we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're watching this Facebook live. Happy Saturday. Yes, we got up on a Saturday morning to do a Facebook live titled Doc, How Do I Avoid Overwhelm as a Working Mom? I want to
Yes.
introduce myself. I'm Dr. Tolulope Olabintan. I'm CEO and co-founder of Livingspring Family Medical Center here in the awesome city of Mansfield, Texas, where we believe in helping our patients live long and well because we believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. I have an amazing guest this morning, but before I introduce her, if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching in replay, hashtag replay. I have with us this morning the amazing Dr. Ngozi Ude. How are you
Mhm.
doing this morning, Doc? How are you? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for coming on a Saturday morning as a busy working mom and carving out this time for our audience. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. No problem. I'm here.
All right. So, Doc, my first question to you is for those who are watching. Yes, we've heard your name, but they're wondering who are you and what do you do?
So I'm a board certified family medicine physician. I am based in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I have a primary it's called Apple Valley. Medicine. I also have an aesthetic, and through these, my goal is to have my patients not only feeling good but looking good.
You help people look as good or feel as good as they look and look as good as they feel. I like what
Yeah.
you I like
That
it.
is it.
I like it. I like it. Awesome, awesome. Now, people are wondering, why do you do what you do though? Why do you do what you do?
It gives me purpose. I love it and it gives me purpose. I think to live, a fulfilled life, you have to have, for me, that melding of medicine. I was that science math kid. So science to me brings all of those together and then, helping people. So that culmination together, I mean, it just was a no brainer for me. And yes, so I
All
love
right.
it.
I love it. Thank you for what you do. Now, going right into our topic, and for those of you who are watching, we decided to have these conversations because we are working moms as well. And even if you don't work as far as outside the home, overwhelm can be a real challenge, right? And so we're going to keep it real in this conversation because we also know the pain points that you may be having as well as a working mom. So our first question, Mom, what are common I said mom, you're a mom, but Dr. Ude,
Yeah.
what are common causes of overwhelm as a working mom?
And a lot of my answers are my personal perspective because that, overwhelm, I definitely experienced it. And, with all the things that I do, being a mom, being a business owner, entrepreneur, being married, and a lot of us are wearing different hats. So I definitely get it on a personal level. So I think the problem, at least for me, I talked about medicine and that giving me purpose. I think I had that part of it out. I think the difficulty for me from my perspective, was melding um, my professional life and my personal life and having a balance.
Mm,
Started medicine, I wasn't married, I didn't have kids, and I think that balance because I still wanted to live that purpose, but also the most important part is family and your children and all that. And so I had a vision for medicine, but I don't think I sat down to think of how I wanted my personal life to, like, all of it to fit. So one of the issues I think is lack of that vision, or at least not taking the time to see quote unquote what you want. So that's one. I think another problem is not being proactive. So again, I feel like I planned when it came to, my business and career stuff, but then I didn't do such a good job, I think, on the personal side of things. And so that lack of planning, I think, also had you know, caused some problems. And the other one, lack of boundaries. Um, that, for me, just, at one point I was working 7 days a week. And obviously, if you're working that much, there's no balance. And the other one is getting help, making sure that you're getting help. And I, I, I wasn't very good at asking for help and delegating. And so for me, the problems are actually the solution. But those are for my problem.
Okay. So I wanted to kind of tease out a lot of things you said in answer or response to that question. And I hear, number one, you're not clear on your why.
Yes.
Your why, your lack of clear goals. And this is not a bad mom comment. This is more a what's important to you? What are your priorities? Because
Absolutely.
life has a way of putting things on your to-do list. If you don't put something on your own to-do list as a priority, you will always have something to do. Now, do things happen that can throw a wrench into a schedule? Yes, it can happen, and we adjust because we're not rigid. We're fluid, right? We're dynamic people, and so we can adjust and we can make amendments. But we find that when we don't make clear goals, like these are important to me, spending quality time with my kids, being able to carve out time to exercise, being able to go to after school programs, then life just throws things on you and you just put it on your schedule. And before you know it, you're spending a lot of time on things you don't really care to do. I don't add value to you or are not part of your why. Because when you're doing things that are like, you enjoy doing or you feel are in line with your goals, it doesn't feel so much as tedious as when it's not, right? Because when you say, okay, I'm tired, I feel a little, this is a lot, but this is in line with what's important to me. And so when you're doing it because it's part of your value system, it's not as tasking. And then another thing you said is, and I think is a challenge or common cause, is we're being reactive, not proactive, right? So everything we do is in reaction to something maybe bad that happened or a challenge that happened, but we're not saying, you know what are things I should do or set in motion for my family, for my work life? You said boundaries. And this is not a turn off your phone, like ignore phone calls. This is not what we're saying. Is boundaries where you know what you can and cannot do, and you're okay with saying no. Like and
protect,
like no.
Protect what's important. Yes.
Protect what's important to you. And you said not asking for help. I also want to highlight also not receiving the help, because we're offered help, but we you got to receive the help. No, I got it. I don't want to bother you. But yet, if somebody is in our shoes and asking us for advice, oh, girl, I got you. Come on, let me. We want to help, but we don't want to receive help because somehow it makes us feel that we're not a strong mom or we're not a strong woman if we're not doing everything.
That's it. Helping others, but not getting help yourself. So you gotta be okay. So you want to make sure that you're also getting help. And most of those people that you're helping, they care about you and they want you to do well. So if you're offering help, take it if you need it. Absolutely.
Exactly. And we all need help. Let me just make that like we all do. So not if you need help.
Maybe.
And the truth is, if we don't accept these things and make adjustments, there's burnout, one, and then two, we're not able to live out our potential because everything we got to do. Well, we're having this conversation, so this is good.
It implodes if you don't take that time. The whole thing, when you get overwhelmed, everything implodes, and it just doesn't affect the things that are not so important. Affect the actual things that are core to you and are very important. So yes.
So the next question is it avoidable? Like,
absolutely.
Is it avoidable? And if so, what are tips to preventing overwhelm?
Absolutely. So it's going to be a flip side to the points that I made, right? So the first thing is, what do you want? What do you want? So I think the person that said it was, I think it was John Maxwell. See it, plan it, do it. So we're talking about the see it part of it. What's your why? What's important to you? So, and I think that once I figured out, hey, how do I want my life to look? How do I want it to play out? Then, then obviously once you see, so this is kind of the dreaming thing, and think of whatever it is. There's no restriction. There's no, as I've heard, there's no dream police. So figure out what you want your life to look like, and then set out to create plan for processes that will help you accomplish it. So then you go ahead and plan it. So obviously, I mean, down to, meals for your family. You want to plan the schedule. If you're going to meal prep on the weekends, if it's self-care, to take care of yourself, exercise, making sure that you're hydrating. Maybe for you, you want to start going to the gym. Maybe you want to plan to make sure you have your gym clothes for the week, your trunk, if your gym is on the route coming back home from work. If you're someone that's going to be doing YouTube, working out YouTube videos, then you put that on your schedule. So planning it, basically set out, think it through what process you need to accomplish what you want, and then you want to schedule it. Because you've heard it, when it's scheduled, it gets done. So put it on your schedule. And so that's one of the first one is having a vision. The second one is putting your plan to action. And just so I'm clear, you want to make sure that you're a priority. Okay? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. Your family is important to you, but I can guarantee you're important to your family. So make sure that you are a priority. I think that's something that did me for a long time. So make sure that you're taking that self-care, you're exercising, you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you're hydrating, you're taking me time, and you're protecting your mental space, and you're protecting your time and the time that is for your family. And then the other point is putting boundaries up to protect your time and to protect the time that you spend with your loved ones. This was a big one for me because yes, I'm happy, but the thing is, that sometimes they don't set work time. You're going to be working all the time. And then, things on the personal side start to get affected. And obviously, your loved ones, and even that's actually so that has for you to now fulfill your purpose in my case, helping others. And so set those boundaries on time. It's scheduled. So when you're at work, you work. When you're home and be present. And if you're vacation time with your family, even time that you spend with your children, make sure that it's uninterrupted time on a daily basis that you spend with your kids, and then obviously time to spend and commune with your family. And then the last one I would say is the getting help. And so you figure out what things you need help with, or you don't necessarily have to do. And then either you figure out how to get that done, or you find somebody that can help you with that. And so those would be the tips that I give.
All right.
So see it, plan it, do it.
Awesome. So you said a lot of things, and I wanted to give an example,
Sure.
The plan to do it, because I don't want this to be a pressure conversation. Like some people are watching like, oh my gosh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Give an example. What's a priority for you? What's something that's important to you? You want to spend time with family, you want to prepare healthy meals. So when it's something that is important to you, or something you want everyone to have dinner together, like that for you is like quality time together with the family. So you work towards it. So you could say things like, I don't have any appointments or meetings after 6 o'clock, or my phone is on do not disturb at a certain time, so I'm not distracted. Everybody sits together, you put your devices together, you make a meal, you talk, you laugh. And if that's something that's important to you, then you plan towards it. You see there's something that can happen, and you plan towards it. You talked about boundaries. I always like to kind of highlight the boundary issue here. It's not, well, you don't help me, I can't help you. I don't want to talk to you. That's not what we're saying. We're saying put things in place to help you help yourself. You know that you need to have a good night's sleep because you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So your phone is off at 9 o'clock. Do not disturb. right? So putting things or saying things like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not available. Because when you put it in your schedule, you look at your schedule, oh, my schedule is actually booked. You don't have to necessarily say you're having dinner with family. You can just say, oh, that time I'm not available. And it's true because you've planned out your day. Um, Getting help, you cannot overemphasize it, and
Yeah.
prioritizing yourself. Doc, let's talk about this one a little bit. uh, there's a self-help self-care movement that has been pushing for
Yeah.
the last few years, and it's great. I love the fact that we're saying, self-care, but let's talk about the natural instinct of a woman. Sometimes that's not realistic. Self-care is
That's
like,
it.
if I take care of myself or I prioritize myself, I'm selfish, I'm not a good mom. I
That's it.
but
Guilt. A
the
lot of
guilt. But for those who are, who like myself, who may be struggling with that, put yourself on the list. Doesn't have to be number one, but just pencil, like, put yourself on the list is what we're saying, right, Dr. Ude?
absolutely. I have another take on it. To me, you actually should come first. It's just like, to me, the
Wow.
way I see it. I know. I trust me. I get it. But remember on the plane when the mask comes down,
Say, put your own faith.
you have to put yours on, because think about it. If you don't have your mask on, what if you pass out? Then you really can't give your
True,
kid put the mask.
true.
So it makes sense. Like, you have to be good to be able to take care of yourself. To me, that's the way. It's not selfish at all. Because for me, on a personal level, when I'm not either mentally good, emotionally good, I'm more snappy to the kids. I'm not able to keep up with
True,
the schedule
true.
that I already planned. So we planned it now. So now the next step is to do it. But if you don't have any reserve, if you haven't filled up your cup, you're not going to carry that
Mm,
rest of your. And
mm.
what ends up is your family is going to get fumes. They will literally not get the essence. They will get fumes. So that putting yourself at first, I'm not saying obviously yourself and then there's nobody else on the table.
Mm.
I'm just saying, make sure that you filled up your gas tank. You have to be full, and then you pour from that. And trust me, it's to me it's a quality thing too. It does everything different. It doesn't necessarily, it may not be how many hours you need per se, but you have to know yourself and know what works for you. But me, it's not on. You have to come first, in the sense that you take care of yourself, you're good, and then you're going to be actually able to now take care of your family. Because you do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, and
Yeah.
and and I'm realizing that even in having conversations with you, self-care could be different to different people, right? It's not self-care. You're going to take 2 hours to go do your nails, so if that's important for you, that's fine. But one of the things I realized that is, personally speaking, is my morning routine. That's my me time. If I wake up hours before anybody else, pray, meditate, exercise, journal.
Yes.
So that's my self-care. And so if you're watching me and maybe you're watching this and you, like, maybe struggle, like, oh, putting yourself first, it sounds almost contra, like Christian,
Yeah.
contra, like you got to put others first. But
Contrary.
it's important that we understand what we're saying here, where it's important that you are filled so you can pour into other people. And so your self-care routine, prioritizing it, exercising in the morning, listen to music, do a little, something that feeds your cup or feeds your joy, and maybe do it simultaneously with that of your husband or your kids. You can do it simultaneously too, but it's important that we make that a priority, making sure we're getting enough rest, making sure we're getting help. We're doing things that we know for a fact actually help us feel better, help us think clearer, and help us be more present for those we love. This is good. This is good conversations. I love it. I love it. So, Doc, my next question.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You're going to say something.
So I was just going to say, and I think just to reiterate what you said, to be able to really give yourself the self-care you need to know yourself, just like you said. So for me, I would reiterate that me time, because I am an introvert. Every day I have to have time by myself. Say that. Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you're muffed. You're muffed. Because wow. I love it.
Serious. You would not believe it.
Wow.
My recharge is like when I start getting grumpy, I haven't had time. And my kids know it. They're like, "Mommy, do you need some time?" It's just, it is what it is.
Wow.
But know what makes you tick. And so for me, I have to have that mental break to just process the day, and sometimes not even think about anything. It could just me sitting, listening to some music or taking a bath or something, but know yourself. So I'm sorry, go ahead. I know you had a question.
No, that is very important. And thank you for highlighting that. So our last
Sure.
question is, what are 3 quick tips to help working moms thrive? Quick tips, like, yes.
So I would piggyback on the morning routine. I think that is a big one. So for me personally, as an example, I wake up at between 5:30 and 6, and I do my morning devotion for a few minutes. Um, my meditation and prayer. I work out for like minutes, and it's free weights that I have in my room. Sometimes I'll do it right when I hit the showers. I have a shower area. Um, Jumping jacks, sit-ups, whatever it is. I do. And for me, I get bored, so I do switch it. You know what I mean? So I'm early in the morning. I usually have a glass of water by my bed that I drink in the morning when I get up. And guess what? This doesn't have to be your routine for those people out there. It's just giving you an example of the possibilities. Then, I get my kids ready for the morning. I drive them to school. On the way to school, depending on how I'm feeling, something uplifting, and sometimes I'm listening to something informative. Um, and then I obviously have a day. And then in the evening, I get my phone and I put it to charge. And that's the time that I get things together with kids. We have dinner, and it's uninterrupted time. And then there are sometimes I will do a YouTube video with my children, and it's a form of exercise again, but it's also that me time. And so you can actually have it stacked. So what I'm doing is, hey, I'm spending time with my children and I'm working out, and it's kind of a way to spend time together. And then once the kids are put to bed, then I'm reading or journaling or planning something. So morning routine is a quick tip. Figure out, I think exercise is a big one, and it's a big one. Is a big one. Figure out what you want to do with that. Reading, they say successful people read. So figure out what 5 is or so, and try to fit it in. And I always say that the big results are hidden in your everyday activities. So you want to make sure that you have something in there every day that is moving you in the right direction. Okay, so that's one. And then the other one is planning, right? So the one I've started doing recently that has been very helpful is planning ahead. So on Sunday, looking at the week ahead, and planning, because before I would miss things here and there, and I was actually just more stressed too, because I wasn't missing that many things, but I was missing something. And it's like when you don't have it, your mind is always trying to remember that thing. And I just didn't realize how stressed out I was until when I started actually penciling things down. I use actually my calendar phone because it's accessible, and I look at it for the then also the day before for every day, and that has made a huge difference. So that's one. So morning routine, planning for the week and before, and then setting the boundaries. To me, I would suggest that you have, and this is for moms working in the home or working out of the home, set work hours. So if it's 9 to 5, 9 to 3, and when you're done with your time, the other suggestion is while you're at work, minimize the time you're checking your email and social media. Set times for those, because those will eat up your time. Minimize chatter with, just chatter that doesn't, not pertinent. So basically, I'm telling you to be more efficient with your time while you're at work. So the strategy I use to keep off of social media is, if I find myself on Facebook while I'm working, I literally repeating to myself, when you're at work, work. When you're, and it's so irritating to shut it off. And so that seems to work for me, but definitely minimize times that are not work time. So work every time you're at work. Once you're home, we already talked about that. Then I put my phone away at least till the kids go to bed before I pick it. And I think those are the actionable tips I have.
Awesome. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. And for those who don't know, Instagram has a timer. So I have a 20-minute timer on Instagram for the day. So once I'm done, it tells me, yep, you're at 20 minutes, time to go. I'm like, all right, that's it. Okay. And we're not saying, obviously, you're on social media watching this, or YouTube, like you're watching this, but, set boundaries for yourself to help you maximize the day, because there will always be something to do and you cannot have time for everything. I also wanted to add this, I know you talked about boundaries, you talked about planning. It's amazing, the planning part. Sometimes I used to think planning was like, oh, please, that's wasting time sitting down to. But the hour or so you take planning your week, or 45 minutes or 30 minutes, saves you hours, up to days in the long run. Because you put it down and you prioritize in order of importance. That's one. And then the last thing I was going to say is this. Recognize and discern your season. For someone who's watching this, you have 2 little kids, running all over the place. You don't have the time you may not have as much time to sit down and do some of the things that we talked about, or it's elusive because you're waking up breastfeeding 3 or 4 times a night. So you're tired. You don't want to get up and do a routine as much as we recommend. I just want to encourage you that this season doesn't last always, but it's what you can do, is what opportunities you have, make the most of it. Baby sleeping, you sleep, right? Because you need your rest, right? You're doing the dishes or the laundry, you put on music, and you just, so you're getting your exercise in. And, if music is something that makes you feel good, you're doing that too. So batch as much as you can. This has been very helpful, Doc. I love it. Thank you. This was good. This was good. So people are wondering, they're like, Dr. Ude, I have some patients, or I have some clients, or I have some family members who could use a good doctor like you, who would help them navigate the season even of motherhood or womanhood. Doc, where can people find you?
Okay, so our office website is www.applevalleyfamilymed.com. I also host a podcast called Weekly Dr. Ude, where I share medical information, and I have other doc experts like Dr. Tolulope that share medical tips and information. I'm also on, and that podcast episode also streams on Facebook. Streams on YouTube, and it's the same for Dr. Ude. Then we're on Facebook by the practice name Apple Valley Medicine.
Awesome. Yes. And we already have that information posted in the comment section, so people can reach out to you to come as a speaker, to come connect with you, have you come talk on their platforms, or to even connect with you as a family physician. So yay.
So good.
Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. I hope you have a good rest of your Saturday. You get some rest. We get some rest. But this has been so good. Thank you all for watching. Please remember, share this. You could just simply forward this to your family members and friends who could find this very useful. And if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough, and a passionate family physician here in the Mansfield, Texas area, who will help you live long and well, I am she. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you, Doc.